Hello, students. I'm Mr. Parmenter, and I'm so happy to be here with you as we read and learn together. Grab a paper and a pencil so you're ready for today's learning activities. I'll wait right here. Welcome back. If you were with me in our last lesson, you know we were reading from one of my favorite books called How to Steal a Dog. How to Steal a Dog is a fictional book, but it's realistic fiction, meaning the events that happen in the book could definitely happen in real life. In How to Steal a Dog, the main character Georgina is going through a very difficult time in her life. Her father has left, and her mother is not earning enough money to pay rent, so her family has been put out of their apartment. Because they have nowhere else to go, they have to stay in their car. They keep their food in a cooler and park in different places to sleep. When they need to get cleaned up, they go to a gas station bathroom to wash their hair and face as best they can. In that story, Georgina is really having a hard time because she's worried what other people will think about her, since her clothes aren't clean and her hair doesn't look exactly how she wants it to. She wants others to be understanding of her situation and to treat her with kindness. And that brought us to a very important word that we're going to talk about again today called empathy. Can you tell me what you remember about that word? That's right. Empathy means the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Have you ever heard the phrase, put yourself in someone else's shoes? What do you think that means? Yes, putting yourself in someone else's shoes means really trying hard to imagine what their life is like, almost as if you are wearing their shoes and their life is your life. When we do that, we're able to understand what other people are going through better, and it helps us to be able to treat them the way that we should. One of the best ways that you can put yourself in someone else's shoes is to actually take the time to learn what their life is like, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to turn from our fictional story, How to Steal a Dog, to a nonfiction text about homelessness. We'll build some empathy in ourselves toward people who are experiencing homelessness in real life. We'll also learn how to identify reasons and evidence an author gives to support particular points in the text. Our text today is called Myths and Facts About Homelessness. Have you ever heard the word myth before? Tell me what you think it means in your own words. Good job. One meaning of myth is a type of story, but it also means a widely held but false belief or idea. In other words, it's something that a lot of people might think about something, but it's not really true. The title of this text, Myths and Facts About Homelessness, tells us that we are going to be reading about some false ideas that people have about homelessness and what is really true. As I read, be listening for the reasons the author gives to support the facts. Okay, here we go. Myths and facts about homelessness. Myth number 1. People become homeless because of bad choices they made. Homelessness is their fault. There are as many as 500,000 people without a home on any given night in the United States. There are a lot of different reasons that they become homeless. But it's important to understand that being homeless is a very difficult and stressful way of life that nobody would choose. Often, people who are homeless have to live outside in hot or cold temperatures and bad weather, and they may even become victims of crime without a safe place to stay. Children who are homeless sometimes get treated badly by other kids in school who don't understand what it's like to be going through that experience. It isn't their fault. Myth number 2. People who are homeless are dangerous. People who are experiencing homelessness don't commit more crimes than other people. In fact, people who are homeless are convicted of violent crimes less often than people with homes and are more likely to be victims of violent crimes, especially if they are women or children. There is one exception, and that is how often people who are homeless break laws that say you can't camp in certain places, including staying in a car. That's because they often have nowhere else to go. Myth number 3. People experiencing homelessness are lazy and don't want to work. Homelessness is often because of housing being too expensive and jobs not paying enough. A lot of people who are experiencing homelessness actually do work, but it can be difficult to keep a job when you don't have a good place to bathe and sleep. Myth number 4. Homelessness is part of life and there's nothing we can do about it. There are actually places in the United States that have made a lot of progress in solving this problem. In most cases, they've done so by making sure that apartments and houses don't cost too much, that people have support with health issues like mental illness and other disabilities, and that jobs pay enough for people to live on. Thanks for reading with me. Now, let's take a closer look at how this text is put together. Do you remember what the title of the text was? Say it to me if you do. Right, it was Myths and Facts About Homelessness. The title of this text tells us that it explains myths or false beliefs that some people have about homelessness, and facts, or things that are really true about people who are experiencing homelessness. That's how the information is organized in the text. We're going to look at how the author supports these points using this Box and Bullets graphic organizer, which will show the author's point and the reasons and evidence used to support it. In each section, we'll ask ourselves, why does the author feel that way? That question will lead us to the reasons or evidence that support the points that he or she is trying to make. We started with myth number 1, which said people become homeless because of bad choices they made. Homelessness is their fault. What reasons did the author provide to show that that belief is a myth? Can you remember? Yes. The author said there are a lot of different reasons that people become homeless. Being homeless is a very difficult and stressful way to live that nobody would choose. Now let's check out myth number 2. You remember what that one was? That's right. Myth number 2 said that people who are homeless are dangerous. What reasons or evidence did the author provide to show that that was not true? The text about myth number 2 said people who are homeless do not commit more crimes than other people. It also said that people experiencing homelessness are more likely to be victims of crimes. Now it's your turn to try this on your own. Let's look at the last 2 myths and see if you can find those reasons and evidence on your own. Myth number 3 said people experiencing homelessness are lazy and don't want to work. Here's what the author said next. Can you read it out loud with me? Homelessness is often because of housing being too expensive and jobs not paying enough. A lot of people who are experiencing homelessness actually do work, but it can be difficult to keep a job when you don't have a good place to bathe and sleep. All right, on your paper, write down reasons or evidence you see to support the author's point that people who are homeless are not lazy. What did you write down? Good job. The author says a lot of people who are experiencing homelessness actually do work. So that's one key piece of evidence that shows it isn't even true to say people who are homeless don't want to work. And it also seems like important evidence that it can be difficult to keep a job when you don't have a good place to bathe and sleep, because it sounds like people may have trouble keeping their job if they're having a hard time getting rest and staying clean. Great job finding those reasons on myth number 3. Now let's wrap it up by taking another look at the last myth, and that's myth number 4. Myth number 4 said homelessness is part of life and there's nothing we can do about it. Here's what the author said about it. There are actually places in the United States that have made a lot of progress on solving this problem. In most cases, they have done so by making sure that apartments and houses don't cost too much, that people have support with health issues like mental illness and other disabilities, and that jobs pay enough for people to live on. Can you find the author's evidence to support the point that homelessness does not have to be a part of life, and make some notes on your paper about it? The text says that in some places in the United States, they've actually made progress in solving the problem of homelessness. So if they can do it, then other places can too, right? How did they do it? What evidence did you find out about that? Can you read it to me? Excellent. They've done it by making sure that people can afford houses, making sure that people can get the help they need for mental illness and other disabilities, and last of all, making sure that people can earn enough money from their jobs. Today we learned how to identify reasons and evidence an author gives to support particular points in the text by focusing on the question, why does the author feel that way when we read? The next time you're reading a text, look carefully for the reasons the author is including and the evidence that is provided to help you understand the topic the text is about. Thank you so much for learning with me today. I hope you'll come back next time to practice our reading skills as we continue to explore nonfiction text about homelessness in the United States.